Hello, everybody. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and this is my colleague, Tracy Priest.
Hello, everybody.
And we're with The Road to Retail. On our podcast, Tracy and I hope to offer tips, insights, ideas, and examples for how small, emerging, and challenger CPG, consumer packaged goods, brands can build their business. Everything from determining if you're ready to grow, where to start, how to prove it online, how to go about securing distribution at a national retailer, driving your business with the end consumer, and how to go about finding an investor if that's important to you. The bottom line is, we would love to help you be successful by highlighting the many important factors that go into establishing and growing your brand.
Bruce and I have been working in CPG commercial operations for over 30 years, working on brands of all sizes. By commercial operations, we mean sales, marketing, trade marketing, new product development, broker and distributor management, new product development, brand M&A, and financing. As a part of our show, we bring our guests that are brand founders and leaders, agencies, Amazon specialists, sales agents, contract manufacturers, retailers, and investors to discuss their experiences and share their insights with the audience.
To keep up with the show, please subscribe to the Road to Retail podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leave us a review and consider sharing the show with a friend or colleague that may benefit from the content. You can also check out our website to learn more at www.road2retail.com and follow The Road to Retail on LinkedIn. We would love to have you along for the ride.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Road to Retail, where we interview colleagues, friends in the industry. So, Bruce, great to see you this morning. I hope you're doing well.
I am, Tracy. Good to see you as well.
All right. Well, tell our audience who we have today.
We have a great guest today. Today, we're joined by Jason Paulus, who is the founder and CEO of Acid Rainwater, a great water brand. So, Jason, thank you for your time here today. And why don't you start off with telling the folks a little bit about your background and how you've wandered into the role and the brand that you've started.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Bruce and Tracy. Hey, my name's Jason Paulus. I am the founder of Acid Rainwater. And really, when I started this brand, it was something about connection and health that I really wanted to bring to the world. And really, in my journey, I got sober 7 years ago. And as part of that journey, I was getting back into health and just realizing how better to work in the world and connect with people. And what I found is over the time is just going out to parties and still hanging out and functioning without drinking. You know, I'd be drinking out of plastic water bottles a lot of time. And you'd find out at a party that people would sort of gravitate away from you as the night went on. It was an odd thing, but I noticed that again and again and again. It really was part of that, just that connection that you're wanting to work with or hang out with people, but they'd sort of gravitate away from you. The health part of this really was now going down the journey and really trying to get and all the details and get better and get 1% better is what I always call it every day. I was drinking out of water bottle, plastic water bottles, gosh, 8, 10, 9, all day long. What I found out is that we know with the plastic water bottles, all the microplastics and the phthalates and everything else, and they're really a hormone disruptor. So when I started to really put that together, I had this great idea about 4 years ago. Why not water in a can? Now, road's been paved with the water in the can. I go, what a great opportunity now. So why not put something that tastes great, is healthy, functional, and it looks cool while you're hanging out with the boys. I always laugh about it. It's like, you can go out at night and crack a cold one open with the boys now, but it's a cold, healthy one with the boys. So really that started me down that path. And it's been a lot of fun so far, and boy, it's just eye-opening as an entrepreneur in the CPG business. So it's fascinating in that aspect and exciting.
That's awesome.
Well, that's a great story, and your product does taste fantastic, and it's interesting that drinking out of plastic was not cool. And I never would have thought that people at a party would be like, oh, he's not really having fun, so I'm going to go find fun people. You don't have to be cocktailing to have fun.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I noticed that it started to be a pattern after a while, and I just thought it was me hey, it was, no one, but as the night went on, it progressed a little bit more where people wouldn't gravitate to you. I'm like, why is that? And when I started to ask afterwards, it was like, well, you're not really drinking and we're in a different mindset. And, it just felt weird.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, why not?
Interesting.
It doesn't make sense to me, but I was like, well, why not fill that gap? So put something that looks cool, but is also a great functional water.
Yeah.
Great.
So, Jason, tell us a little bit about the backstory. Our audience loves to hear, founder's story. So tell our audience a little bit about maybe the gap in the market that you saw. I mean, you've touched on it a little bit on the heritage and the reason behind the brand, but maybe talk about what gap you saw in the market. And then did you do any kind of consumer research that told you, hey, this is a great opportunity?
Yeah. So when I with the putting it the canned water, what I found is that I was always on the go, right? And it's just most of us are in a hurry and you're always trying to get 1% better is what I say every day, whatever that is, 1% better with your connections with people, 1% better with your choices on beverages or food. And if I'm reaching for something every day, if I reach for acid rainwater, it really is helping me make a better decision. Where I came about that is, I take a lot of vitamins in the morning. And once I got sober, I really started, taking all my blood and finding out where I was. I was constantly short of vitamin B12. So I was taking almost 2,000 micrograms a day just to keep up with all my vitamin B12. Well, I thought, if I could actually maximize my day, what if I skip a step in there, right? So instead of stopping to take the vitamins, which the vitamins in themselves, and a lot of them do have fillers, they're not 100%. You're basically ingesting plastic on a lot of them. So why not skip a step? So why not put together a product that really incorporates all the vitamins and minerals that I'm really low on at this point, and put that together in just one drink, right? And I wanted it to taste like water, because I always feel that anything that tastes, and it has that sweetness or something in it, sort of it triggers my brain that it's sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I've quit sugar, I don't, that's something I don't do. I don't do sugar anymore, which has made a huge impact on my life.
Oh, absolutely.
So when I put the acid rainwater, I put 500 micrograms of pure vitamin B12 and the methylcobalamin B12. And I'm really proud of that because it's complete, pure, and it's certified. So I want to make sure when I put the vitamin B12, I've got potassium, magnesium, and electrolytes inside of it. So it's a perfect hydration drink. So I drink it in the morning. I can drink it in the evening. Before workout, after workout, going to a party, wherever it is. If I'm feeling a little bit low on energy, this is what I reach for all the time. And that was the market, because I was always drinking. If I wanted something to drink, it was, just drinking out of a plastic water bottle. Well, now I got something cool to grab any time of day, but it also gives me that little bit of a boost, a pickup in the afternoon. Because I definitely, with the electrolytes, the potassium, magnesium, and the vitamin B12, it really is, it helps on the recovery as far as just stamina from meetings all day, whether you're working out. I mean, it's just CEO of a couple companies. It's go, go, go all day. So you're really needing something. I wanted to be able to reach for something healthy.
No, that makes sense. So Jason, I've got my acid rainwater right here. One of the things, so you touched on this with Tracy's last point. Talk to us a little bit more about what we call the meaningful point of difference of the product. So the B12, the magnesium for muscles, all that's great. I think an unspoken, although you've certainly hinted at it several times, aluminum versus plastic. I mean, let alone the kind of cool factor that you're not drinking out of a water bottle. Everyone knows above the age of like 5 that dumping a gajillion water bottles into the landfill is not so great. And the aluminum is highly recyclable. So tell us a little bit more about the point of difference of your brand? And then how did you compare it to the other water products out there? Or were you the pure entrepreneur and you're like, hey, I got this idea and I'll figure out those other things when I get there?
So is with acid rainwater, where I came, if you want to go back on, let's just figure out how does the water taste? Because that was a big part of this, right? I wanted something that tasted really crisp and clean. And there is a difference with water. So we did our own little internal research where we went around and we tested, 10 different waters. And it was interesting the feedback you get from everyone, that the different tastes and the different flavors. So we really found a profile of where we wanted to be with that water. And we sort of like, hey, let's gravitate to that. And that's really what we wanted to do. So part of that also is depending on where you get your water. So we get our water out of LA right now, and is the purification process. So that was really important too. So acid rainwater, we do the RO on it, but we also we do the RO, and then on top of that we pasteurize it, because that was important to me too. I wanted to make sure it's all clean water. The market where we're at and where we're sort of sitting is we're a hybrid between just pure water and an energy drink. And the B12 that we have in there, the pure vitamin B12, is really the differentiator on that, because it sort of spans that gap of, we get all the hydration out of the water, but you're also going to get the B12 that adds as far as energy goes. Because if you're lacking B12, you will definitely feel an instant pick-me-up with it. And that market right there is sort of something that's floating in between, because there are other options out there, but they put sugar in it, right? Because you use sugar in some kind of flavoring to mask. So it was really important to me to have just pure, clean, crisp water, but also the functionality. So we're in between, but we are a water because we taste like water, and it really is a water. But we also have that additional vitamin B12 with the functionality of it.
So you're kind of in between in both segments, I guess, water and functional beverage.
Yes.
Makes sense.
I would like to think it tastes really good. So it's a good, clean, crisp tasting water.
Right.
And that's where we're landing on that. But with the 500 micrograms of pure vitamin B12, it does put us in a little bit of a different category.
Yep, absolutely.
Interesting.
So talk to us a little bit about the early days of acid rainwater when it was just an e-com. So talk to us a little bit about D2C with your own website, and then maybe the role, if there was one, for Amazon.
So the challenge is starting, in the early days, we got started on, online. And the challenge with the online, with particular with beverages, is that's not a normal avenue for most people. So really, when you look at the market, it's like less than 2% would buy beverages online. So the majority of it is convenience stores or retail coming that part. But when rolling out, we really did a lot of activation. So we were really locally, we were just doing activation and just getting having people buy online. And that really was the big push that allowed us to get our foot in the door in several other retailers. So we were in a few local retailers, and then we were able to partner with a couple different distributors. And we were able to launch in the Midwest, which has been really amazing. And now we're just starting to launch on other parts of the country. So really getting started, the push on that is really trying to get people to buy online with water, and in a 12-pack form, because we were selling it in 12 packs versus the single. And it's really cost prohibitive on a big chunk of that is just the shipping on it, because it's expensive to ship.
Yeah.
The relationship with Amazon has been, as far as Amazon goes, it's been great. Once we figured out the system on how to get up and get running on Amazon, it did give us the ability, because 80% of people look at Amazon to verify and purchase products. So that's probably our second largest avenue of sales right now is through Amazon.
Great. And then
Interesting.
are you direct a 3PL then through Amazon? I'm just curious because we've had a couple episodes about Amazon and what's the right, is it 1P? Is it 3P? So what do you know?
We've been just shipping with Amazon. We do all the shipping ourselves. So we're just utilizing Amazon right now instead of using their warehousing
Right.
because it doesn't make sense economically yet on the scale to go that route.
Exactly. Good. Okay. Bruce?
Yeah, interesting. So Jason, one of the things that the listeners seem to like is to know that as entrepreneurs or leaders of small, emerging, or challenger brands, that they're not the only one out there that runs into some challenges. So if you could, why don't you share with the folks, some of the early challenges you guys ran into and how you resolved them? How did you work through the tough stuff?
Boy, that's always yeah, it's where do you want to start on that one? So really one of the challenges is when we were launching, just trying to launch during a pandemic. And what we found out, especially like even trying to get aluminum cans, there are only two manufacturers of aluminum cans in all of North America.
Yep.
And they really didn't want to talk to me. We'll just say that. They were like, well, this was in 21. They were like, maybe first quarter of 24, we could get you in a role somewhere. So it was like, well, we got to find out a different channel. So we the early stages just getting cans. So we were able to get cans. It's amazing when you get like there's a really good once you get in and you get a good group of people, good people connect you with other good people.
Yeah.
And it really that has been the journey so far. That's been so much fun. Uh, some of the stuff getting started. One, what to spend your money on, like this marketing, that marketing, and as an entrepreneur, shockingly, I might pivot one, two, four times a day on things. So it's really getting good people to keep me focused on like, hey, no, you're going over here, you're going over there. Stay in this lane, stay in this lane. So one of just coming out of the gate, just trying to get things started about packaging, shipping, coordination on that. Gosh, that was such a challenge. Distribution and working with good distributors. I'm still learning on that. That is still trying to find good people to work with. We've had a few challenges, to say the least, on a few of those. Because I'm curious how I can ship product and then I end up owing money. It's a different it's a different avenue. I'm like, well,
That's
didn't I
different.
just give you some
Yep.
product and now I owe you money? So that was we had a couple of those challenges too.
Well, Jason, you're out there close to Hollywood. That's Hollywood math, man. A movie makes a couple $100 million, yet they claim that they made no money. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
is tough,
someone's getting rich.
without banging on distributors much. It's tough to sort through that. It's tough to sort through good ones from bad ones. And, one of the pieces of advice, I believe you'd probably endorse this, that Tracy and I pass on a lot, is find people who know how to work with them.
Yep.
It's worth a little bit of your money to make sure, to your point about good people connect you to other good people, make sure you're working with folks who actually know how to get from A to B.
Yes. And I fully believe that it's the who, not the how on this. So
Yep.
I've been able to put together a good team now that steers me in the right direction on a lot of this. So they've been actually really steering the company in a positive direction, a lot quicker. We'll put it. I was all over the place, but now it's like really honed in on where we're going and the goals we're going to meet in the next several years.
Excellent. Well, you started to touch on marketing. I think that's where Tracy wants to go
Yeah. So
next.
let's talk a little bit about marketing. Talk to us a little bit about the marketing levers that you use, and most importantly, how do you measure those levers? How do you know that they're working? Because you're a small emerging brand, every dollar is precious. So where do you spend those dollars, and how do you know that they're working?
So the first days of that acid rain started really just Instagram. We were pushing as much as we could on Instagram and trying to get traction on that. And what we found is that if we would go out and do an activation and with the Instagram, that we were able to get a lot of sales through that. Then once we started building on that, we started using Google on a lot just to narrow that down on sales. And there was an ROI, but it just the A/B testing on that between Google as well as Facebook. And the challenge on that is the money goes quick. So it's really trying to hone in on that as to who our target market is on that, and really push to them. When we were able to find out that, where our target market was, we started to see a definite increase in sales. But boy, at the beginning, it's just you're shooting everywhere and you think this is your market, and then you realize, wait, that's not who these ads are targeting. It's my market's over here. So that was a challenge, boy. And I will say the money goes quick on that end with the marketing. You have all these great ideas, and you're like, well, we spent this, and what was our ROI on it? And we're like, not as much as we thought. But then over in this group, you spend a little bit of money, and like, wait, there was a huge ROI. So now it's pivoting on that and go, okay, well, let's pull that lever a little bit more.
So the key, I think I hear you saying, is you got to pivot and you have to be flexible. And we call it on the show, test and learn.
Yes. So now it's the A/B testing, A/B. Go that lane and go that lane. And it's even with some of the advertisement on that, it's things hit that you weren't expecting to hit, or they're sitting for a while, and then all of a sudden something catches on and they roll with it. So that's definitely learning all the time on the marketing.
Yeah.
Well, another point, Jason, if I may, that you're saying is, not only test and learn, but you also have to somehow, this sounds super old school, but write down what you did. Otherwise, it's like, wait, did we already do that? Because you're constantly evolving and getting better, and then you don't want to circle all the way back and find out, oh man, that was a dud. Why did we try that again? So you got to keep good records of what is and isn't working. So let's talk again, as you've worked through some tough stuff like all new brands do, and you're figured out some of the marketing tools that are working. How do you think about the various channels now that your brand is available in? Tracy asked about DTC and Amazon, but now you're also in brick and mortar. How do you kind of manage each channel and watch out for pricing conflicts? And as you already referenced, distributors, they want you to give them a big discount so they can make their margin. And all of a sudden you look at a sales report and you're like, how in the blazes do we have like 17 price points? How did that happen? So how do you manage that?
So that comes back to the same thing we talked about before is, Acid Rainwater's got a great team, and I have people on top of that all day. So they're constantly checking that, constantly just verifying and making sure that the message and the price points are consistent throughout online or in retail. And it's challenged, to say the least, because there's a lot of things that get moved, changed, and trying to stay on top of that. It's all day, every day, constantly on it.
So Jason, let me ask you one other question, which is a derivative of this. As you expand into brick and mortar, what do you and your team look for in an account? Because, we all go to trade shows, et cetera, and Bruce meets Jason and he's like, oh man, he's going to give me a meeting. It's like, great, but you're a New England based cookie and he works for a firm in Phoenix. Why would you do that? So how do you guys sort through kind of your criteria that says this account, even if it's not huge, they'll be a good partner?
So it's when we go and have those meetings, it really is about the connections with people, and sort of like, what are their visions for their company and what do they see? Because I really look at every single one of these as a partnership. If we're going to do business together, I want us both to succeed, because really that's the goal of this. Is there's plenty for everyone. We can all succeed in this, but it's helping each other. And when you're talking and you're sitting down going, hey, my goal every time is to ask them, how can Acid Rainwater support you? How can we make your business better? So if you're going to bring us on and we're going to bring you on, how can I help you? Because really, me helping you helps me. And that's what I want to see, success on every end.
That's good because we have, founders, everyone's all excited when they're on that growth curve. And whether it's a product that rushes in with a big brick and mortar retailer and launches in too many stores and then finds out something's not right. And then they immediately are in scramble or death spiral, risk of discontinuation mode. So, and what you said is great. And not a lot of people think of it that way, sadly, that there's generally enough for everyone if everyone's willing to work through and see how the math works. Because if I take more than you from you than I should, eventually it just isn't going to work.
Runs out.
Yep.
And it's that in the long run, right? It's like there's plenty for everyone to go around, and if you just look at today, like we can all grab ours today, but that's not what I want. I want to be able to walk up to you 20 years from now, shake your hand, and go, "Hey, we've been doing great. What a great deal! Look at this. This has been nothing but success. I hope you had as much success as we've had, and I hope everyone that's working with you has had that success." Right? Everyone that's around your orbit. Isn't that what we want? We just want, if you're really working with everyone, you want them to all be successful. What better way to sit down, to a yearly meeting, or when you go to meet, your suppliers or the retailers or the distributors, and like, hey, it's a great meeting of old friends, and like, hey, we're all doing great. I love this. Let's just go sit down. Let's break bread. Let's have an acid rainwater and celebrate.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Jason, one of the things that our emerging brand audience loves to hear about is raising money. So, tell us, have you raised money? And if so, what do you look for in an investor?
So our first launch, our capital raise was, family and friends. So we got that. So now we're in the process of going out to raise some more money, and we've done several interviews, talking with different bankers, investment, and this stuff. Really, what we're looking for is finding alignment on things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a burn. It's not a turn and burn. And I understand too, because I'm very careful. If I'm going to accept your money, like that's personal. Like I'm going to be a good steward of your money, but I
Absolutely.
also want to make sure that you're going to be able to trust me that I'm going to do the right thing with your money. Right. So it's that both. And I get it. If you're handing me money, man, I need to be on top of that all day, every day, and making sure, because I want them to invest in us, because I want them to win as much as I want us to win. And I want to be able to sit down with an investor and like they see that same vision on that. Hey, this is where it can go. This is what I bring to the table. A lot of times too is it's you can take the money, but also there's wisdom there. Like, give me some wisdom and let's do that, because I have wisdom in one aspect of life and you have it in another. So let's put that together so we can win. It really is the same.
So if I hear you, Jason, you're looking for a good fit kind of personality and how you roll compared to how they roll. And you're also looking for what Tracy and I will refer to as value added capital. It's people that can help you fill in some potholes or make introductions or have access to a skill set you guys are trying to build, versus just someone who says, here's X dollars, good luck, keep me posted. And frankly, there's not many of those people.
Yeah, no.
People start giving you money, they're going to call you and you'll be like, why is Bruce calling me all the time? Oh, that's right. He gave me money. He's probably interested in how it's doing. So Jason, let's say you're at a emerging brand, get together there in your hometown, and someone comes up to you and says, hey, I got a great idea for a brand and I'm getting ready to make the jump and do it. What's like the first piece of counsel you would give that person and say, hey, I've got some bruises. Let me tell you a few things. What are those first couple of pieces of wisdom you might give this person?
So the first wisdom I would tell them is, one, do you know exactly who your target audience is?
Good.
And two, are you ready to work 24/7, 365? Because this is how it works. You hear stories. You always see the overnight success, and I laugh about that. The overnight success is 8 to 10 years into it.
Yeah.
But you only hear the overnight. No, there's a lot of pain that goes with it. And I'd love to say, hey, it took off right away, but that's not it. You're going to take the lumps, the bruises, be ready to work, and surround yourself with good people and also get yourself, I would say, into groups, mastermind groups, to help uh, you exceed, I guess, even knowledge in business in different aspects. Because you get blindsided because you get blinders on, thinking, "Hey, this is the way to go. This is the way to go," and you don't see the hazard ahead where someone else has seen it. And it has to be you have to be willing to listen. That's the hardest part. A lot of times is just listening to other people, because you want to trust that, hey, I know what I'm doing about all of this. You don't necessarily know everything, even though in the moment you're like, hey, it looks great.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why.
one of the bumper stickers, Tracy, if you're going to say it, go there.
No, go ahead. I'll give you the glory.
We always say, Jason, we meet these folks and they've got we like to beat on gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. Although to all people out there, I am willing to be an unpaid taste tester. But it's like, look, you have the 17th gluten-free cookie and you're going into Whole Foods, and we always say, my baby's beautiful.
Yes.
Because my mom likes it and I sell out all 3 dozen at the farmer's market on Saturdays. So of course, Nabisco is going to buy this in 4 years. I've already started looking at yachts. Okay, great.
So true. So true. So,
Tracy, go.
all right, good. So we're rounding third, as Bruce would say. So this is our fun question. Tell us about your favorite football team, band, or brand, and why.
So I'll default to rock and roll, and the band growing up was Guns N' Roses. Always Guns N' Roses. I've seen them so many times because it was just that energy of them, starting off in that band that you never knew what was going to happen from day to day. So it was. Oh, I mean, I've seen them tour all over the world. That's it, and never disappointed.
I love that. Well, you're speaking Bruce and I's language. We're rock and roll guys.
He's in the heyday of Axl and Slash, when you would hear like those beginning riffs of like Welcome to the Jungle. It's like, all right, I'm gonna fight 12 people right now.
Right.
And but
Obviously, in your younger days.
well, I would have spent a lot of time in the hospital if I was picking fights. So, Jason, this has been fantastic.
Oh,
So,
it's been great.
how can people reach out to you if they'd like, and if you're open to it, to either ask you a question or learn more about your brand, or maybe the world's most honest distributor would like to represent you. So, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
So you can go to our website, acidrainwater.com. And we're also on Instagram, so drink acid rainwater. You can go there, just send us a DM. My team will always, we're on that all day. So, I mean, they get in touch with me all the time. And you could always go, reach out to me at jason@acidrainwater.com for sure.
All right. Well, Jason, this has been absolutely fantastic. So the other highlight of the show is right now. Tracy, the big finish.
Absolutely. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. We really enjoyed it. And there's some true words of wisdom there. So I encourage our audience to listen to this episode. So thanks for joining us today. Please continue to follow us at Road to Retail on Spotify, on Apple. Also, we have a website, www.road2retail.com, and look for this episode soon. And we post every Tuesday on LinkedIn.
Good luck out there, folks.
Thank you again, Jason.
Great. Thank you, Bruce and Tracy. Appreciate it.